Hello, and welcome to the Safe Tunnels podcast. I'm Dr. Grace Ambrosakin, and I'm here again today with my mega superstar, Kelvin Crosby. Hey, Kel.
Hey everybody, it's so good to see you even though I can't see you. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm excited today. I mean, we're literally doing the recording the day after my Good Morning America Deafblind Potter video went out. I mean, whoever thought that I would ever make it to that platform? Here I am though. So anyways, but that's not why we're here today. We're here for a guest today. We have Ashley, and I'm excited to hear her story about the belt cane and how it impacted her life.
Ashley is a parent of Damien. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
And excited how the belt cane had impacted her little one and how it's changing her little one's life. So welcome, Ashley. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm excited to be with you guys today.
Well, Damien, if you've seen our Facebook header, he is the little guy that is seen with his rear facing walker, rear facing walker with belt cane, and then without just the belt cane. And I really want us to get to that. But what we like to do is we always like to start with, how in the heck did you find Safe Toddles and the pediatric belt cane, Ashley? What brought you here?
I'm not even 100% sure how we came across you guys.
So fun.
When Damien first started walking, we were using that rear-facing walker, but it wasn't working very well without anything else. And he's pretty sensory, so he wouldn't hold anything in his hand. So a regular cane just wasn't cutting it. So we are part of the Birth to 3 program in Brown County, Wisconsin, and our coordinator actually pointed us in the direction of Safe Toddles.
That's right. Wisconsin. I met with a couple of state coordinators. I want to say the summer of 2019, maybe, and gave them a couple of canes, and they said they would carry them with them on their trainings around the state of Wisconsin. So I guess that's something like that. Somehow that's connected. That's terrific.
So I gotta ask the question: are you a cheesehead like me?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
All about the cheese.
Love it.
I couldn't resist. I just had to ask the question.
I don't blame you.
We'll
We get that a lot.
Yeah, he's feeling no pain today with these virtual viral videos, I should call them. So tell me, Damien was a little over a year when you first reached out to us, or was he over 2? I'm wondering. We want to tell people how old he was.
I believe he was just over a year when we started with it, because he was diagnosed pretty young. It was 4 months when we started noticing, and then 6 months when it was determined that he was visually impaired.
So he's visually impaired. And do you have a functional, what's his functional vision? Do you know? How can you describe it?
From what the doctors say, he has no functional vision. So there's no light perception, no anything. But if you ask me and his father, we're going to say he has something. I don't know what that is. If he is using echolocation, we have no idea, but he gets around really well to not have any light perception at all.
Like he seems to avoid things.
Right.
Obstacle perception.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that comes from when they do those vision tests at such a young age. Damien is stubborn. We always say Damien has Damien time. So he's going to do whatever he wants when he's ready. And those tests are very I'm asking you to look at this or in the direction of this. And he doesn't want to, so he's not going to. Mm-hmm. So maybe as he gets older. Right. Yeah. Put a big flashing light in somebody's face. And
exactly.
If he can see it, he probably doesn't want to.
Getting tortured all the time. I mean, that's what it is.
Right. So hopefully as he gets older.
Right. Yes. And he's able to discuss.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm 33 and I still don't sit still. for the doctor. So
Right.
I'm not sure if there's hope. I mean, if I'm already having difficulties, I don't know if there's hope.
Uh-oh, don't tell me that.
So
I'm
I was telling Ashley that you were born deaf and acquired your visual impairment in your late
yep.
teens. And Ashley said,
So Damien is actually the opposite. So he was diagnosed at 6 months as blind. He has Norries disease, and he could potentially lose his hearing. They say
Mm,
normally around the second decade of life. So we don't know if
mm.
that'll happen, but there is that chance that it would be just flip flopped from what you have.
interesting, right?
My buddy George is that way. Like he lost his eyesight due to cancer, but then later on started losing more and more of his hearing, and so yeah, it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. So um, but we can go on stories all day long, and we won't stay on path. And so Grace, what's our next question?
Well, we would like to know, and I have a little remembering of it. So, but if you could walk us through, it wasn't an immediate love of the cane, if
Oh
I
no.
remember correctly.
No, 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 no.
Tell
Oh
us
gosh, the
how that
beginning.
went.
The beginning, like I said, Damien time is a real thing. When we first gave him that cane, it was tantrums and screaming, and he didn't want it on him, didn't want it touching him, nothing. Um, and me being mom and a little soft hearted, kind of backed off in the beginning. And then I had a good talk with Grace about it and a little tough love that I needed. And he, once we started pushing it, he just, it was like something clicked. And he could figure out the different textures through the vibration of what the cane was on. And it was really cool because we would go places, we'd walk into the doctor's office and he would stop on the sidewalk and he would move the cane back and forth, and then he would take a few more steps and then he'd get onto the carpet and he'd move the cane back and forth, and he could tell the difference of where he was. And it was just a really fast progression after that. He just, once he was like, wait a second, this is helping me, then
Mhm.
he really started to work with it.
I'll never forget that email you sent
So
Stubborn.
it's pretty
me.
much freedom, right? Like
Right.
you got freedom, and he's like, I found it. Like, oh yeah, here we go.
Mhm.
And Mama, come and get me. You can't find me now.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly.
Well, I'll never forget, that email that you sent me. We'd had it was tough because I guess sometimes you might say, and I think Calvin might even agree with this. I
Me
can
agree
maybe
with
I
Grace.
don't
That's a
I mean I
concept.
may not always be as sensitive to the boots on the ground, and when your child is giving you a tough time, and I'm sitting there going, listen, don't listen to him. You're in charge. Maybe I could be a little softer, but
No, no,
but
no. It was
Just a
good. It was
little.
perfect.
What? Just a little softer.
just a little. I'm not going.
No, if it was softer, I would have just moved on.
But I'm trying to find. But you. So then, the first thing was it was early, so it's like working without the reverse walker, and I said, no, you don't have to do it without the walker. I said, my whole thing is, right, just add the bell cane to whatever is currently happening. If they're currently sitting most of the day, just add the bell cane to that. If they are working with holding on to someone's hand or holding on to their balance support, and that I think helped a lot, right? That was kind of like that helped to talk about it and plan. And so then
Absolutely.
he when you do a side by side comparison of without the bell cane and with the bell cane, it's like racing Damien's, and the one with the bell cane is clearly going faster than the one without.
Mhm.
And then after that, it was I remember I have it. I use it all the time because you two are talking, you and the physical therapist, and one of you say, well, when did you start to walk? And the physical therapist is like, 20 minutes ago.
You're doing it.
What the heck, dude? When did you learn to walk?
Say 20 minutes ago.
And you're like, I knew he would do that. We all knew he had it in him, and we knew he wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And there he was. He was doing it. He was doing it without the reverse walker, and he really transitioned to a place. And then, very next day, you wrote me and you said you went to the ice cream store. Was it what was it with your? You got to the car and
Yes. Yeah. We went to the ice cream store with grandma and grandpa, and as we got out of the car and I put it on him and he walked, and you could just he was walking holding my hand, and he would stop, he found the curb, he'd move the cane back and forth, find the sidewalk, got up, he walked in the ice cream store, we got our ice cream, he walked out to the car just holding my hand, not guiding him. He was just holding my hand to stay close, and it was such a freeing feeling because when you have a 2-year old, even now being 3, like having to carry him everywhere is exhausting. And he doesn't want it any more than we do. You know, he's flopping all over the place. He has so much energy. And the belt cane really just gives him that opportunity to
So,
use that
what is the
energy that he.
most dangerous thing he got himself into so far? I mean, experiencing his freedom.
what?
Well, I will tell you, Damien doesn't have very many fears, like at all. He would like to hang from the back of the couch by his toes if I let him. But this belt cane, he gets into everything. He was at the sitter's house. He found her bedroom. He was hiding in a laundry basket behind the blinds before she even turned around. He is quick, so
Hey.
much faster now, which is good and exhausting, right?
Age appropriate, we might call
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Blessing in disguise.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
One
yeah,
day.
yeah. Oh, that's so awesome, though. I mean, and that's the thing, and why I love the belt game is because it gives the kids the opportunity to experience the world and do toddler things,
Mhm.
and so that's where, like, for me, I'm like, why don't we continue to help the kids be able to have that freedom? Because what you just explained, going and hiding in the curtain and trying to hide from your sitter. I mean, shoot, that's what I would do. I mean, don't get me started on stories when I was a little kid. I mean, I was just not the most let's just say
So
sunshine.
hard to believe, Cal.
I was an angel, right?
I
But
love
I mean,
it.
I did. I mean, I think that's what's so cool is like Damien. He like, oh, I now comes like hide and go seek, and I can even do it so quiet, and the sitter will have no idea where I'm at, and be super fast because that's one thing. It is like he started to learn how to work with that floor and then the floor creak or just different things in the environment. Like, oh, I can nail this. And
Mhm.
it's just so exciting. Like I get so giggly when I hear stories like this because it's like, yes, like we got another win. We got another
Yeah,
kid to experience that freedom, not needing your eyeballs to be able to navigate the world, but using the right tools, and now you the whole world's open. So,
absolutely. And I'm super excited because this last week, Damien just started school.
mhm.
I can't even believe it. 3 years old and goes to school 2 days later. Break my heart. But the first day, bad mom here, I was running so late and did not have his belt cane. Well, the week before, Damien just had a seizure. So we were in the hospital and recovering from that. He was a little off balance compared to the progress that we were making. And that first day of school, you could see as he was walking with his teacher, he was holding her hand, and they had a different cane for him to use that day. But he was kicking his right foot out quite a bit. He was really off balance. And then the second day going to school, his sitter dropped him off, and she sent me a message with just saying he has his cane today, and the difference is insane. Because we were really nervous about him kicking that right leg out, that something was wrong, and it
Right.
was really just that lack of confidence of not having that cane there because She said he walked so much faster. There was no kicking. He was confident. He just walked right along. And that made me, it really just makes my heart full because you worry about those things. And that even like progressing, coming out of the hospital, it's helped so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that he truly knows when it's on, that
Hmm.
he feels more self-confident about moving at a pace than when it's off, and he's still going to go because that's what you have to do, but he's going to be a little more cautious. And I think what I like most about that story is how much we need to respect our little ones. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you're 1, 2, or 3 years old does not mean that you don't know how you feel about things, and whether
Mm-hmm.
you feel afraid or self-confident about moving in space is a very basic phenomenon. And he's proving that, and so are these others. And it is true, other mothers have said, I learned more when I forgot it about how much they depend on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that
Absolutely.
is really not such a bad thing if in fact the outcome is, oh well, good.
Mm-hmm.
So it is,
Yeah.
he wants us to remember it for him, and he
Hmm.
can't remember it for himself. And it
Yeah.
is awkward. It takes up space, right? There's some cumbersome aspects to it. Are there any things that you've learned about stairs, or other things that maybe how he's figured them out, or how you guys as a family have figured out what to do for those challenges?
So we're just starting to work on stairs. Damien, again, is very stubborn. So this was like walking upstairs was a whole tantrum. Like we're kicking feet, we're trying to jump in between the legs of who we're walking with. So that's pretty hit or miss. And we are open to suggestions for that.
Well, so I guess the thing is, going down the stairs is pretty seamless, because if you have the longer cane on anyway, it should
Hmm.
just, I don't know about the shorter
Kind of
one. It's
pop
not,
down. Yeah.
yeah, it's not so good. But the longer one should kind of float forward. But going up the stairs, you're the curb. Does he kind of know now? He's like a couple, you lift it up, and you're a couple steps. You have one step. Does that part he's got right?
Yeah.
So the multiple steps is something that I feel like it if we have a way to give him time. We just were talking to another mom last week who said her 2-year-old daughter, who learned to walk at like 11 months old, she goes up the slide stairs with it, and she just lifts it up and walks, so that the potential is there that if you are stable on your feet and you have it on, that they can kind of figure it out. On the other hand, when you add already concerned about balance, like these other challenges, maybe it is a good idea to take that as being part of the experience. Like, we're just going to give this
Mm-hmm.
to you, and maybe you can figure out how
Mm-hmm.
high you want to lift it. That you stay on the landing and you get closer and you see 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. You know, lift it up and then find the handrail and then walk up. Kind of, it's slower, and it needs to be about it. We're not in any hurry to go anywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll pull those motor parts together, and to remember that without vision, or without sufficient vision to see the all the steps, the information that there is another step is extremely valuable information. And
Mm-hmm.
so while we would,
Absolutely.
as a sighted people, look at kind of this thing and go, "Ooh, that's not what I would like on the stairs," I think it's a sight bias that we could help him figure out the balance, figure out the core. It's going to start slow, but the more he gets to practice that coordination, the more he will show us. And I really feel like he will show
Hmm.
us. But it just has to be at a time when there's no stress about going up the stairs.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think though there's I mean, I think going upstairs is like it's one of those things where all right, there's so many different types of stairs, and they all do different things. So like there's ones that have that little lip over the top, and so, like for the belt cane, that would be a tough one to get over. The ones that are more like a cement, just straight up, just kind of like a cube type of shape, those would be a little bit easier because it's just straight cut off. But and like most houses though, like that stairs or have an extra lip over it, and yeah, I don't have a good solution. I mean, I wasn't a cane belt cane user when I was a little infant. I was just a rascal um, with the hearing aids. So that was my challenge. But I think one of the things is like Grace was saying, is get like you'll get to the point where he will feel comfortable. All right, I can hold that rail, and then just use my feet, and then use one hand and then pick the cane up or tap the. He'll figure it out, but it's one of those things like
I think
we don't have enough
if you're
we
in
don't have enough data
combination,
yet.
yeah, if
Yeah,
are you
and
working with is he working with an O&M specialist?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is he working with an O&M specialist?
At school, yeah.
So that I think this is the kind of thing that an O&M specialist could help problem solve. Once we identify a problem, that's the best thing is to figure out solutions that are relevant to Damien, right?
Hmm.
Will you
mhm,
agree? And
yeah.
I wonder, what have you gotten any feedback from the O&M specialists about the cane or how they're incorporating it into their lessons?
Not yet. No, he's only been there. Well, today would be his third day.
Oh,
So
wow, they're all
he hasn't.
brand new.
Yeah, very brand new. And the thing I'm
Mhm,
excited though, because I know they're going to be working on stairs and sidewalks and all those different things. And at home, we don't necessarily have that. We do live in an upstairs apartment, which is great because we go up the stairs every day. But um, Damien's very loud. So when he has that cane, banging it on the stairs does not make our neighbors extremely happy. So we have to
Understood.
find that, a place where he can go up the stairs without that stress. And I think school is going to make the big difference.
I agree, and it'd
yeah,
be good to
yeah.
let that be that. I can also imagine that if they're interested in trying to work on the transition to the long cane, this could be an opportunity to figure out how you sort of do that. Like, let him wear
Mhm,
his cane most of the day, but during O&M lesson, if they want to work on the long cane and stair types, like
mhm,
I don't know. I mean, I think there are a lot of things you could work on besides that.
Right.
And it would be great if they would work on figuring out how to do it, with the belt cane. Obviously, that would be my preference. But there's a lot of options here,
mhm.
truly. And it's
Well,
great to have someone involved who, is going to help think about some creative ways to do it.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
I have an interesting question for you, Grace. How fast can you unmagnetize the belt cane from the belt?
Oh, it comes right off, right, Ashley?
Okay.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So
Damien take it off himself.
No, thank you. No, 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 not yet. And I think I know where you're going with this, Calvin, because I was thinking that, but then I'm thinking once he learns that, oh boy, are we going to have our hands even more full.
Right. We don't, nobody
go,
said that.
Damien! Come on, man! Drive
Yeah.
your mom crazy!
I'm going to send him by you and you can cheer him on.
Oh, I will, and him and I will have a heyday.
No,
Oh,
It
I'm
will
sure
be,
you would.
and him
he
and I
will
get
learn
on.
it. And hopefully
Yeah.
it's at a time when he could, one of the things that an O&M specialist is telling her kids, the boys who have figured it out, is okay, well, you can hold it or you can click it, and because that is the transition. And so when they kind of learn that, give them an opportunity to walk with it, holding
Mhm,
it, and then click it back in to kind of help them see that is a choice. That's a choice you have.
Mhm.
The choice that you don't have is not to have it
yep.
so much,
Right.
have you have to have something, to detect the path.
Mhm,
But I could
yeah.
see him taking it off and even just kind of holding it like this, up and
Right,
down
right.
Yep.
to feel that next stare. That, I mean,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
very plausible. It's going to
Mhm.
give
Yeah.
me a
Well,
headache, but hey, who am I to decide, right?
And it's
Well,
almost like would they flip it around or like we are so new and this is such an interesting problem. I like ramps. I am always equating this to the wheelchair, and I do feel like reasonable accommodation are the two words we need to think a lot about when we're deciding, because I think the least attractive one is taking it off,
mhm.
Mhm.
and getting him where he doesn't have learning it. Now, listen, I'm a parent. Sometimes you just got to pick them up, throw them in, and whatever. But on the other
Mm.
hand, there's a need for lots of practice, lots of experiences, and trial and error is where we're going to find some good answers. And there's going to be a lot of answers depending on the situation.
Yeah.
I think there's not going to be one right solution. But the last thing I want to do is come off saying I know everything about how to do everything, because that's where it's got us to this position that we are in right now with the lawn cane. Like we just think it's going to be the solution for everybody, and it turns out it's not. So we need to
Yeah.
stop being so
Mm.
sure
K-
of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
I would like to come back to something at the beginning that you talked about. And I bet you there's a lot of parents out there that will be listening to this. And I wanted to kind of, what was your, as a mom, when you learned that Damien was visually impaired, what did you have to go through? Because I think there are probably tons of parents listening to this that are going to need that support. Like, what did you have to help you through your challenges?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So I'll tell you, it's very hard to find other people who are in your position. There's a lot of diagnosis out there that you can find other kids pretty easily that have parents who are going through the same thing. And at least in our area, I don't know of very many people. We did have the opportunity to go through a visually impaired conference where they would match you up with other parents. And every once in a while, I find somebody who's talking about their child on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, that sounds just like Damien. But really, it just came down to me and his father just kind of, you got to stay positive. We can sit and
Mm-hmm.
we can, like, for example, my grandpa always says, makes me so sad that Damien can't see. It breaks my heart. And it's true. It's unfortunate. But the
sure.
way that we look at it is we obviously, like, if there was something we could do to change it, we would, but we have to work with what we have. And we always say, like, Damien's going to be the next American Ninja Warrior. He's crazy and he figures everything out. It's so crazy to watch him, learn new things. And it's all about that positivity. And we always want to instill in him that we all have different challenges, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you have different challenges, I have different challenges, and even though those don't look the same, he can do
Mm-hmm.
anything that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you can't, sometimes you can't sweat the small stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
it's
well
Yeah.
said.
it's big, but it's small.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're all
And then
dealt our cards.
That's
yeah,
right.
and that's so beautiful because I think that's so important. Like, I mean, my mom was the same way when she learned. She had me on her lap. She was saying, learning that I was going to be hard of hearing, and she taking everything in her power when I was getting put on my first pair of hearing aids, not to sit there and cry. She needed to be strong for me, but like
Hmm.
she had the support, and she had my dad, and they were able to work through it. And they said, "We're gonna make Calvin keep moving forward, whether he likes it or not. We're going forward." And here we are. I'm just an insane guy that's running around getting his head cut off. But hey, that's what it is. but
Absolutely. And it's funny because my fiance and I, Damien's father, we always joke about like what Damien can and cannot do. So like he had his birthday party and someone bought him rollerblades, and I'm like, he needs a T-ball set. And Rome's like, no, you can't do that. And then he bought him a motorized car, like one of those four-wheeler things. And it's so like, we know that he can do everything, but we always try to one up each other on what Damien's
yeah,
really going to like to do. So it's so fun to
yeah,
just figure it out and get creative, right?
yeah,
Absolutely. And set the bar way high. He's
So
a
Grace, we need a belt cane to strap on his four-wheeler so that he knows
yes,
when the next thing's coming up. A
we
heavy
need
for
duty
sure.
one.
we have a lot of people who reach out, and what we need is greater ideas, bigger, better ideas. First and foremost, let's all admit that if you can't see where you're going, that's a problem. That
Mm-hmm.
is not fixed by pretending it's not a problem. Once we can say, yes, that's a problem, now we could start coming up with all sorts of creative solutions. And
Hmm.
I think the
Well,
self-driving car is one of them that
Yeah,
we're all looking forward to for all sorts of reasons.
Well, I mean, I
And
don't know why you need eyes to drive. Most of the people on the road don't have eyes that work anyways when they're driving. I mean, so why can't I
absolutely.
drive by braille? Like I just use my cane to just take it out the door. Oh, there's a car there. Oh, there's a car there. I'll just put out front. Hey, I'll slow down. Hey, I got this. Oh, the light green, red, yellow. I don't know. Hey, I'm still going forward, right? Hey, why not?
I
All right.
I actually
eh,
saw a video of a gentleman who was blind and he wanted to, I think he was previously a race car driver. And so he was trying to beat this record and he had in his helmet it would say left, right, straight. And it would keep him like you know how like if you're too close to the car next to you it beeps. It was kind of like that and it would say left, left, left and so that he would move the wheel just that little bit. And it was crazy to watch. He ended up beating that world record. But I just think, Damien is totally capable of doing all of that stuff. He has the determination. He had his first Easter egg hunt this year. Like, he can do it all.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Did he wear his bell cane for his Easter egg hunt?
He did, and I didn't get a picture of it. I was so bummed. But I put, did you ever see those key finder
Of
thing?
course.
So I bought a set of 4 of those and I put those in as Easter egg so that I could
Awesome.
beep one of them at a time. And I was so focused on that. I didn't even get any pictures of him doing his Easter egg hunt.
It's enough just to hear it because I know that they have so many creative preschool and,
Hmm.
and early intervention ideas. And I'm like, just add the safe mobility and you'll get a beyond great outcome
Hmm.
with these kids. And they, that's another example. Like he can go and hunt for these eggs and you make them accessible to him. There's no need to leave the other
Absolutely.
part behind or out of it, right? I mean, the long
Right.
cane doesn't really work for those
Yeah,
kids. So it's
yeah.
really good and so creative. I love it. Anyway,
So, or, I mean, this has
this was
been fun,
terrific.
uh, and you got
I
me
knew it
not
would
in the
be.
morning. So this we're doing this recording in the
Which
afternoon for
I'm
me,
now
and
regretting. I think we'll keep
and,
it
and this is my third cup of
tame
coffee,
hell.
and I'm
Oh,
running.
it's the coffee.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, hey, by the way, if anybody wants some Deafline Potter coffee, go to my website, deaflinepotter.com, and you can get some Deafline Potter coffee that persevere for your own challenges. Hey, here we are, right?
I love
I'm so
it.
bad. Uh, but
Did we cover everything, Ashley?
I
Anything
believe
we did,
so.
right? Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming
Of
today and talking
course.
to us about Damien's progress. He's going to get his next bell cane. She's going to send in new measurements. He's outgrowing his first one.
Yes.
So he's getting
that's
big and
exciting stuff, right?
that's really wonderful. So keep
So,
them coming. We're ready to happy to make them.
Will
well,
do.
Ashley, thank you for your time. And so, if you guys would like to get a hold of us, you can email us at safetoddles.org. All right, no, you can email us at info@safetoddles.org. And if you want to help get a Safe Toddle belt cane into toddler's hand, go to the website at safetoddles.org and support a belt cane so that way we can continue to give the freedom to these kids and give them the opportunity, the freedom of this world.
Yes.
Also, if you want to find us on social media, go to the social media websites and type in Safe Toddles. You'll find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm missing one. TikTok. There we go. And go ahead and find us there. And we'll catch you guys next time. Go live beyond your challenges.
Have a safe mobility Monday, everyone. Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to stop. Safe Toddles podcast is made possible by generous donations from people like you who understand the benefits safe mobility is to blind toddler development. At Safe Toddles, our mission is to provide toddlers with mobility, visual impairment, and blindness with a solution for walking safely. A pediatric bell cane for clear path detection.